I do not choose to be a common man. It is my right to be uncommon if I can.
I seek opportunity, not security. I want to take the calculated risk.
To dream and to build, to fail and to succeed.
I prefer the challenges of life to the guaranteed existence, the thrill of fulfillment to the stale calm of utopia.
I will never cower before any master,
nor bend to any threat.
It is my heritage to stand erect, proud, unafraid, to think and act for myself.
To enjoy the benefit of my creations.
And to face the world boldly and say, "This I have done."
All this is what it means to be an entrepreneur.
Thomas Paine, Common Sense.
Good morning, friends and entrepreneurs on the interwebs. I'm Rachael Blaske.
And I'm Julie Ahern.
And we also have
Anne-Marie DeWitt.
Yes.
From
And
Fireside Games.
Yes, and we're here with Jade Rogers of the House of Afros, Capes, and Curls in this episode of You're Invited. And today's topic is community building. And Julie, VP and COO of Greenbrier Games, and myself, VP of Channel Marketing for White Wizard Games. And as our guest host, we have Anne-Marie DeWitt, who is the co-owner of Fireside Games, are going to chat with Jade over a good cup of coffee or tea and learn her insights and ideas about this topic, because we feel it's an important thing when running a board game company. And all the while discussing your comments and questions in the live chat, because you're invited.
This week is sponsored by Arcane Wonders, the publishers of the Dice Tower Essentials line, including Onitama, Smartphones Inc., Aquatica, the brand new Sherlock 13, which is a light deduction game for 2 to 4 players where anyone could have committed the crime. And all of these are available at your local FLGS or wherever you buy games.
All right. And if you can share the stream, we would appreciate it so much. It's really, really awesome to get this out into the community. So we will give you time to do that right now. Now, Julie, what's going on in Tabletop?
Oh, always fun. Tabletop news. Yay. What we're doing is, so we have noticed a trend. So obviously we've well established that Kickstarter has ups the number of Kickstarters throughout the year, can ebb and flow. So of course, around the holidays, you see much fewer Kickstarters being run because people are spending their money closer to home and not thinking about a potential investment for future things. Well, that moratorium for this year's holiday season is over, because this week was all guns blazing. Like, there was so many new Kickstarters, and that's great. I will say that in updates and looking at Kickstarters that happened before the holiday season, a lot of updates that I'm seeing are showing that there's a lot of pushback of dates consistently across the board, which I suppose can be the case for a lot of companies, but there are some that have been consistently on track, and I'm seeing them from them as well. And I think that has to do with our report of the shipping container shortage from last week, that I think everybody's feeling that effect. So we'll see how that affects all this rush to start new Kickstarters this season, because people are still waiting for their previous ones. And then the other part of our news is that Indie PopCon announced that they were going forward with their in-person convention this summer. It's the week of July 7th. And there is an estimated 30,000 people already saying they're going to attend. And that is concerning, since Here in Indianapolis, they're still at ages 65 and up for getting vaccinations. And so as a board game publisher, I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on whether or not that gets canceled or postponed, because it will absolutely inform whether Gen Con is allowed to be canceled or postponed based on contracts, I'm sure.
Right, because they use the same facilities, right?
Yes, they do. And now the interesting part is I've only gone to Indie PopCon, I think it's first year. They only used a portion of so basically where the events are in halls D and E, mostly that area of Gen Con, for anybody who's gone to Gen Con. So not the entire convention center and the Lucas Oil Stadium and like everything else that Gen Con takes. They had only a piece of the convention center. And I think that means that they would have the ability to spread out to the entire convention center, to spread out population of, everybody going through, and so people would have more space to move around than a Gen Con, even though Gen Con has stated that they will have, I think they said that they would also max out at 35,000 if they were to happen this summer.
And the Gen Con ticket lottery.
It's right. So we'll see. I know a lot of people are expressing concern about going to Gen Con. So to see what happens at Indie PopCon will definitely inform whether it moves forward or not.
Well, awesome. That is Julie keeping us on the tip of the news all the time. So, I want to remind everyone that you can click the 3 dots in the upper right-hand corner, and you can choose to be notified every time we go live. And we also have the link to our YouTube account in the description box below, so you can subscribe. That'd be cool. And see any of our archived shows after streaming. Now, I'm so excited.
Yes.
I'm so excited. Okay, guys. So, community building. Oh man, I love this. Okay. I'm like, I texted Jade this morning. I'm like, I am at vibration level of excitement right now. Like I am, cool. Community building is a universal need for business. And I first heard Jade's name when I was talking to Mick Fitch from Our Family Plays Games about how to find a more diverse board gaming community to encourage more representation at our regional gaming convention here in Lincoln that I help organize. Now, the answer apparently was simple. I find Jade Rogers and I find the entire Omaha blurred or black nerd community. So community is a tricky thing to build, and the amount of enthusiasm and dedication to a cause that it takes a special type of person. And so we went to great lengths. I mean, like 45 minutes away to Omaha to find this amazing founder, teacher, and gamer who personifies community. So I cannot wait to learn from today's incredibly talented guest. Please tell me all the things.
Right. So you run an organization, the House of Afros, Capes, and Curls. So can you tell us a little bit about what that is, how it got started, how you got up and running?
Yes, the House of Afros, Capes, and Curls is an organization, and our goal is to connect people based on a shared love and interest in sci-fi, fantasy, gaming, tabletop gaming, and Afrofuturism. It started, and I tell this, and it's the truth, because I wanted to get all of my friends around a table so that I could have one conversation about Game of Thrones and not 10.
Efficiency. I love this already. Go ahead.
I realized that I had friends from different parts of my life and different parts of the community that didn't know each other, but they all knew me. And so I'm having to manage I saw it. Oberyn. Yeah. Oh my God. No, I can't talk to you right now. And I thought, if I could just get these people in a room, we could have an amazing conversation. It was also out of a love of, building something. I would go to places and I would see that, I'm the only person of color that I usually see in this game shop or this comic book shop. And it's like, I know that other people, if they're not coming, they want to, because I hear people asking me, well, can you take me? Because I've never been. So I realized that as a person of color, born in Omaha, Nebraska, I have a very strong comfort level in walking into a space, knowing that I may be the only person of color there. But not everyone has that same level of comfort. Mm-hmm. So if I could create a space where people felt comfortable and we could do these things together, then we could grow the community of Blurs a little bigger, and people would come out of their closet and admit, I like comic books, I like games. So that's sort of where the House of Afros, Capes, and Curls came from, that desire to pull that out of all my friends, because I knew they were nerds, but no one else knew that they were nerds.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. So, yeah.
So I had a quick question. I was wondering, as you were organizing and deciding to form a nonprofit, kind of take it from kind of an informal setting to a more formal, and maybe that's an assumption, but I am wondering kind of how that might have affected any business planning, that went into the organization.
I am an historian by trade.
Welcome to Anne-Marie, guys. Get it, girl.
And I'm an historian by trade, so I'm an educator. But I also have worked with nonprofits for most of my adult life in wherever I live. I was going to say in the Omaha area, but I lived in Maryland too, and I worked with nonprofits there as well. So I know the world of nonprofits. So I never wanted to be a director. I never wanted to have one. I never wanted that.
Truth.
Yeah. But, right? Me neither.
I was doing these game nights. And so that's where it started. So it started with, game nights, and then they turned into monthly game nights. We were like, we want to do it again. And so I was really coming out of my own pocket to feed people on a Saturday night, to buy all of these games, to find a space to host these things. And it was really taking off. And I could have probably done that forever, but my friends were like, you can't keep doing that.
Yeah.
We also did a major event when Black Panther came out in 2018. And of course, I told my friends, wouldn't it be really cool if we did a Black History program before the showing of Black Panther? And they were like, we're going to do that. And I was like, huh? How are we going to do that? And lo and behold, we partnered with Alamo Draft House. I told them all the crazy things that I wanted. I wanted a stage. I wanted dancers. I wanted singers. I wanted poetry. I wanted all of these things. And he said, okay. And they gave us their largest theater, and we did a Black History program with the full, the Black National Anthem. We had a choir, all of that. And then we were able to have the premiere of Black Panther, and we sold out, of course, 2 nights. And what we realized was, this is bigger than just my little, the game nights that I'm doing with the few people that I know. Although those people were telling other people, we realized this is bigger. More people want to engage and connect in a different way. Yeah. I've never been one that likes a suit and likes those stuffy, mixers and networking events and things like that. I hate that kind of stuff. But if you put me down in front of somebody and we're playing a game, we'll learn everything about each other. Yeah. So we realized that, and I say we because it was a group of friends of mine that I made my little council to be able to bounce ideas off of, so that I know that, yes, I have these crazy ideas, but can we actually do them? And they were the ones that really pushed me to say, okay, no, we have to make this a nonprofit. We have to really do this bigger. You have to, there's a bigger audience and there's a bigger need.
Congratulations, you've leveled up.
Yeah.
Congratulations. but no.
Right.
Oh my
So
gosh.
so
Yeah.
it was need-based that really pulled me into it, because I was kind of kicking and screaming, even for a year, sitting under a fiscal agent, kind of like, maybe we don't have to. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
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 I mean, it seems like the foundation of most amazing nonprofits is because there is a need and they saw fit to address it. So
Yeah.
now obviously you're like, okay, I've got my small community.
Mhm.
Then we did something cool. And then we saw there's this huge community. So then how did you start building it from there? Because you suddenly had a lot more awareness, and I want to know where you went with it.
We went back to game nights
Mm-hmm.
and workshops, and it was a slow build to get those people that came to that one event and just keep things going, because I have ideas for days. And I just was able to connect with a lot of people that saw something that sparked an inspiration for them to support. So we very early got, some financial support from people that didn't even want to be recognized. And I didn't know who they were, but they wanted to give us some funds so that we could do more and do bigger and reach more people. And it started off with, me doing game nights at No More Empty Pots had a cafe, and I would, take over on Saturday night. Great Plains Black History Museum, where I was one of the directors over a program there. They let me have space on Saturday nights. And another nonprofit in Omaha had an office space. And so we would do that on Saturday nights. To now we have a house. Mm-hmm. And so the house has a house that we can utilize.
That's awesome.
Unfortunately, because of COVID, we have not been able to be in that house, but it's really been word of mouth and people telling a friend and bringing them that way, that people have found the House of Afros, Capes, and Curls.
But it also sounds like your personal interaction is so getting them there is word of mouth, but having people stay
keeping
there.
them.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like it's the getting them to sit down in a game or have a conversation, and that's kind of that personal connection. But please tell me if that's right, or what more is there?
And retention.
I think that I have something to do with it, but it's the space that I create. Yeah. It's the allowing people to be themselves, and just come and enjoy and find a space where you are accepted and you are loved and you can enjoy all of the things that you want to do, especially for people of color. Finding those spaces in Omaha, Nebraska, is not the easiest thing to do. So I think that when people come to an event, they find a space where they can just be, and they don't have to be on guard. Right. They don't have to wonder, what are people thinking about me, because of my love of anime or dressing up. Yeah, I think the most touching thing I've heard from a person was, a couple of things. When we did AfroCon the first year, I had a mom that reached out to me even before AfroCon happened. Yep. And it's like I could hear tears through her words, her typed words, that her son was being bullied at school, that he loved comics and anime, and he was starting to retreat and go inside. And she wanted to find a space of other nerdy people that he could connect with. Yeah. And she found the information about AfroCon and saw that these people look like you, honey. Yeah. You can do this. Yeah. And she was just so thankful to have that outlet to be able to bring her child, and didn't have to travel to Kansas City or Chicago in order to do that. Right. Yeah. And the other thing we did 2 years ago, man, this seems crazy to say that was 2 years ago. Oh. We did, after AfroCon 2019, we did Black to the Future, which was an Afrofuturistic ball. And I encouraged everyone to come in costume. And I had a couple people that said, people in Omaha are ready for that. Black people in costume. I was like, just wait. People came in costume. And it was a beautiful event. We had food, we had music, we had a DJ, we had Mise en Jigs perform. Upstairs, we used a venue that is no longer available after COVID, the Jazz Center on 24th Street. And we had a game room, because anything I do, I'm going to have a game room, of course.
Yeah.
I'm going to have games and tables available. We had a station for movies and then just quiet space, because I need a place where if it's a lot of people, I can just go and just be quiet.
Mhm.
And I had a young Black man that came to me in a costume with a lightsaber.
Excellent.
And he said, "Thank you."
Yeah.
Thank you for providing a space where I can just be me and not have to worry about what people are thinking about me. And I was just like, and he went on and on and on about other conventions that he had been to even earlier in the day. And he felt unseen and he felt unwelcome. And he was just happy to be around other people. And it's he didn't know everybody else's name. He wasn't going to get everybody's number, but he knew that he was amongst people that were welcoming of him. So I think that's my drive, making the space for people.
Okay. Wait. I want to. Okay. I am like, whoa. All right. So far in this interview, I have gotten goosebumps. I have teared up, and I am not done with my question because I want more. Because, all right, you building community, obviously it is innate in you. Your authenticity, your enthusiasm, it's infectious. People want to be around you, and you are creating a space where people feel safe. So this year, nobody felt safe. Nobody felt safe anywhere this year. And I want to know, because that's been a huge struggle for at least our industry. We are our key to our consumers is interaction and interaction typically person to person, because we're moving pieces, we're showing games, where, like you said, get somebody in a room and you guys can sit down and learn about a person. That was all taken away from us. And I know it was taken away from you. So what have you done this year to continue? Because you are, like you said, ideas about ideas about ideas. Right. So what did you do?
Well, nothing slowed down. Everything just sped up.
Okay.
Because, I fortunately, I had been teaching via Zoom for a minute before COVID. Anytime there was inclement weather, I would tell my students, okay, that link you saw, no, we're not leaving the house today. If class didn't cancel on campus, we're just going to meet in Zoom. So I was used to that format.
Okay.
And I think shortly after everything shut down and we were supposed to have a game night in person, I said, well, we'll just do it online. And that's what we ended up doing. And game night ended up being not monthly, but bi-monthly, so that people could connect because they were at home. They were, at home. And it became a thing that we did on every other Saturday night. And I just shifted the types of things that we did. I did more trivia. I did more get to know you activities. We still played werewolves. It was a lot of work. But, I felt like even more so now, people need to be able to play and laugh and find some joy and also connect. So I can actually say our community has grown because of COVID, because on any given game night, most of the people there are not in Omaha. I had people in Maryland and New York and Rhode Island. Yeah, she's come. And Texas, California, Albuquerque, Kansas City, Atlanta, Chicago, Detroit.
Oh,
That's amazing.
and I remember going to AfroCon and being in your speed dating, which is speed getting to know you little thing, and I was just amazed because I thought I was going to be only meeting people from Omaha, and I was like, "So, are you from Omaha?" And they're like, "No." I'm like, "Okay, cool. Where are you from?" Like, I don't think I think I only met like one other person from Omaha. It was amazing. I love meeting people from all over, and I just was stunned by the variety that was there. So, all right, I'll shut up. And
no, I actually want to dig in a little more into Jade. Something you were saying really resonated. It's going to take me a minute to get there, but it made me think of another thing that I've been reading about. It's called The Innocent Classroom by Alex Pate. And so you may be familiar with this. For other folks who may not be, it's all about, if I can just kind of summarize it, it's about kind of what particularly our Black students bring into the classroom, and it's any stereotype that you kind of bear the burden of that stereotype entering the room, because you may not know or believe that any particular person believes or carries that, or it is it is trying to burden you with that stereotype. But the fact that our society has these stereotypes, we are burdened by them. As women, we're burdened by stereotypes, And so when I think about, what part of what he talks about is realize that, we're in that milieu, that those stereotypes are have to be worked against actively. And you have to establish relationship. And what I was thinking about was, with the kids coming up to you and thanking you, for that opportunity, you were helping to break down that stereotype. You were helping to lift that burden off of his shoulders, and it made me think. I looked up your vision because as nonprofits, we are focused on missions and vision, and your vision is all about normalizing the representation of and the consumption of board gaming and geek culture, by Black people, so that it's not an anomaly, but that is something that, is part of, the broader, Black experience. It's just, it's an experience available to everyone in building community around that. And so, I guess I was thinking about how, part of what you're doing is, in enacting your vision is also, helping, part of what America has been engaged in is really confronting, racism and helping to break down those, those constructs and the things that support and enable racism in ways that aren't seen. So I just kind of, everything you were saying to me helps break down, those. So I just kind of wanted to, open the floor and see if you wanted to, say anything about, that experience or, the intentionality around that.
Oh, you said a lot.
I'm sorry.
Every time. Make me sigh afterwards.
Like I said,
well, first thing I will say is I don't know Alex Pate personally. I think I've met him once, but I actually have done the Innocent Classroom facilitator training.
Oh, that's great.
Because I worked in Omaha Public Schools and we have a connection with Minnesota Humanities. So, but I've always been a nerd. I loved Excalibur is one of my favorite movies, and I loved dressing up. I loved wearing crowns. I loved wearing, flowy things and pretending that I was in some medieval forest or whatever.
We would have had
Or
so much
you know,
fun as kids. Yeah.
you know, whatever. The Renaissance Fair.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I love the Renaissance Fair. And,
Yeah.
you know, going to the Renaissance Fair in the Midwest are there going to be any other Black people here?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Screw
Yeah.
that.
And for
have a turkey
me,
leg.
I gave up years ago, even, you know, worrying about it. It's like, I'm just going to go and I'm just going to enjoy myself. And everybody doesn't have that same level of comfort.
Yeah.
But that's normal for me
Mhm.
because that's who I am.
Yeah.
And I know that there are other people of color that wish that they could do those things without that burden of, that's not something that Black people are into. Black
Yeah.
people are into anything that people are into.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
We're especially, you know, anything that any other American is into. Black Americans are into those things. And guess what?
Yeah.
Native Americans are into
Yeah.
those things. And
Right.
Latino
Yeah.
Americans are into those things. You know,
Yeah.
we live in America. So
Yeah.
anything that is available and accessible to anybody in this country, somebody of color likes that thing as well.
Right. Yeah. Race is a construct, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, why wouldn't we be more connected by our interests, you know, than we would by our skin color, you know?
Right.
So,
And more business oriented. As a publisher, why wouldn't you want as
Yeah.
many people as possible to be enjoying your games the games that you make?
Right.
Yeah.
And what better way to do that than include them in as part of your game? Like, okay, I'm writing this rule book for anybody who it could look like is going to be playing it. So
Right.
Yeah.
we're all here.
Yeah.
You know, it amazes me the numbers and the statistics of who is a gamer and who gets counted as a gamer in this country. We don't necessarily consider all the little brown children that play video games and buy video games. They're not necessarily considered gamers. But when you really look at the number and the dollar amount that is spent in Black and brown communities on games, they're the ones that are purchasing these things. And then becomes the bigger question of why.
Mhm.
It's escapism.
Yeah.
And if everything around you is, you know, looming,
Mm-hmm.
Black people, brown people are looking for ways to escape that. So games are one of those safe ways that you can escape the outside world. Of course, they're gamers. They're the ones that are buying these things because there is something that is pushing them to, okay, I just need to decompress. And why do we play games? I just need to decompress. It's also self-care. It's a stress reliever. So there are more reasons why we play these games. And that's another thing that I love tackling and getting into, why we play these games and why we're interested in these things and why I love space and science fiction and Star Trek and all of these other things. When the world tells you that you can't do that as a brown child, but I see Uhura, I see Jordy.
Exactly.
So I can be in the stars too. So all of that
Right.
is a part of
Even
normalizing.
if Jordy can't see you. Sorry, I needed the Star Trek joke in there. Even if Jordy can't see you, cha.
Right.
Awesome.
You can see him.
Yes, and I just your community building heart has been there just with open arms saying, okay, you're looking for an escape and I'm looking for you. And that's the most beautiful thing that I've seen here. So what else you got, Anne-Marie?
Well, do you have any advice for someone who might be interested in kind of taking their maybe informal community building to the next step and maybe starting a nonprofit? Any lessons learned you want to share?
Do you really want to start a nonprofit?
Do you really want to start a board game production company?
But just the irony of that being that Anne-Marie is a former Gamma
board member.
And I'm a current one. So
Yeah.
So speaking to a nonprofit, do you really want to participate?
Yeah.
We are there with you.
I was
You're
asked
there.
to be a board member, and I was like, probably never again, but thank you.
It definitely is a labor of love.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of labor. It's a lot of work. The fundraising. I mean, if I could just do the programming, that's my bread and butter. That's what I know how to do in my sleep, because I've done that for other organizations.
Yeah.
But then now the fundraising and the finances and all of those other things. So you really have to know if that's something that you really want to invest in, if that's something that you really want to invest time in, because it's a lot of time.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, and that's and the enthusiasm of the outside person who wants to participate and then get in and realize how much time you have to dedicate to the fundraising and the management of the infrastructure, as opposed to doing the things that you wanted to do and all that momentum and enthusiasm. That can't, trying to chain that into all right, well, let's move forward, but also things too.
Yeah. And then learning about fiduciary duty, that you have a legal obligation.
There she goes.
I know I could go on and on, but
man. So, okay. Now we did want to boil this all down.
Yeah.
And we asked you to give us a top tip. So why don't you jump into that?
Authenticity and self-care. And I put them, you asked me for one thing and I really just kind of squished two. Mm-hmm. But whatever you do, be authentically you. I think that the thing that the house has that I bring to it is I'm just me. I am who I am in any group, in any crowd, before any person. I am the same way in front of our donors. and I'm just me. And the vision and the mission that we have for the organization, I try to stay true to that. And I try to listen to the needs of the community, because it's more than just me now. It's more than just what I want. It's what the community needs. Mm-hmm. So if I am authentic to my mission and I am listening to what people need, then I am giving them everything that the community can access and build from.
And then the self-care piece?
In the midst of that, you have to take time for yourself. You have to find time to play your game or read your book or go outside and look at a tree. You have to.
Everything you just said 100 times.
Me too.
My God. When you were talking earlier, I was thinking to myself, and I was getting ready this morning, like, if you have authenticity and enthusiasm, you attract followers, and those followers are going to want to invest in you, whether it is time, whether that currency is time or money, and being the person who garners that is the secret to building a community. And Mick was not wrong. I am looking at a person who personifies community right now. So amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
Oh, let's look at some comments. Gosh, I think it's been kind of quiet because everybody's just like drinking you in. Like, just I'm in love with you. Okay. What else we got here? You seeing anything good, Julie, that we want to highlight?
Mostly was because there weren't any additional questions, but I also think, to your point, I think we did such a thorough job of Anne Marie did such a thorough job of asking you great questions.
Telling us all the things.
I think that that it's there's just a lot of people who seem to have appreciated what you had to say.
Everybody's like, if you just tuned in, you need to go replay because you got to start from the beginning on this one. That's what everybody is
Right.
overwhelmingly saying. So
I will say, Anne Marie, you mentioned something that I wanted to highlight that the house also does, because I am an historian.
Mhm.
And in the midst of everything that was happening with the pandemic and George Floyd,
Yep.
I did something that I wasn't really intending to do. In the summer, we started the House Community School. And the House Community School are history classes for people in the community that don't necessarily need credit, but want to learn more about Black history.
Oh, that's
So
great.
the House Community School it's a series of 7 courses. They're 4 to 5 weeks long. And I teach via Zoom. And there are instructional materials, articles, videos, links, and things in Teachable. And we just started another class last night. The first class that people start with is called Africa to America. So,
and where can we find this information for that class specifically? Is it on the website?
It's on the website.
Okay.
Yeah,
Great.
House Community School.
Is it too late if we miss the first class? Is it too late to join, or can we join in progress? Okay, great.
You can join.
Yay.
Awesome. All right. I don't want to tear ourselves away, but I know people have to get to work. So
What are you doing this week? What's going on with you, Rachel?
Okay. So I gotta pull this up here. I have been learning. So on Wednesday, there was, we've got board member and a former board member for Gamma here. And I like to keep up on it. White Wizard Games is going to be a presenting sponsor at the Gamma Expo online. And so they had a coffee that they basically debuted a platform that they want to use for interaction and to make it feel more like the convention. And it was very interesting. So I wanted to just highlight this, is that they used a platform called Spatial Chat. And basically you end up being this little dot in a room, and you can turn on your camera or you can turn on your mic or whatever. And you have a loudspeaker so that everybody in the room can hear you. But if you don't have that on, you actually have a radius.
Proximity to the dot.
Yeah, it's a radius of speech. So it is like you're sitting in the cafe, which people who've been to Gamma, get all nostalgic about Biscotti's, which is where a lot of people hang out and have memories there. And so I was just like, oh, and you can pull your little dot over and then message your friend and say, come talk to me. And you guys can have a conversation, or you can pull your little dot over to somebody and turn on your microphone and say, hey, do you have a second to chat or whatever? And it's like tapping somebody on the shoulder. I thought that was really cool. I know that there's kinks to be worked out and different things like that, but it really did scratch a little bit of an itch there. Like, I just was like, it is kind of like sitting around the table and hanging out. And I thought that was super cool. And I wanted to just mention it.
That's cool. Yeah.
Oh, very cool. What about you, Julie? What's up with you? I know you've been busy.
Manufacturing. Yeah. So yeah, you can see all the boxes that I've shared this week. So Folklore's reprint, we got pictures. They put everything in pallets, and they're like, okay, we're scheduling freight shipping. We're like, great. I need you to go to different pallets and pull different games off and open them up so that we can see them now. That was Folklore. So they are already, some of them, the boats have been scheduled. Some of I think almost all the freight shipping has been scheduled at this point. So all of the manufacturing is done for those. And then at the beginning of that process is bears. So you can see, I was doing proof checking for the first print run, or the first print of it. So I've been, doing things like looking at punch boards and playing with cards. Nice. As you like to do so. And then this weekend, I will be on. Alan Panikal is an artist. He has worked with several different board game companies create art. So Monty Cook, Renegade, Greenbrier Games, has used his talents on occasion, and he has a new podcast because, when you're stuck at home,
what are you gonna do?
Yeah, so he is having now his is a more open-ended geekdom, not specific to board games, but he's having a board game as the topic this weekend, and Bibo and I are his experts on board games. So that's tomorrow at noon Eastern Standard Time.
Nice. And we're lucky enough to have Anne Marie as our guest host today, and I want to know what you've got going on.
We are working on the Castle Panic Deluxe collection for Kickstarter. It'll be launching this spring, and we launched Castle Panic Deluxe this past June, and then all the backers were like, this is wonderful, we want all the expansions. And so we decided to cancel that campaign and just open it up so that we could do like the full Castle Panic with all the expansions. And so every day on our Facebook page, and then I repost on YouTube, either a piece of art or a mini that will be in the game. So if you want to go to our Facebook page or YouTube, you can see a new little thing every day. We have 18 that are out so far if you want to catch up. So
very nice. And those links are in the description box below too to find her. So
yeah.
Jade, I have a question. I have a lot of those for you today. Where do we find you?
afroscapescurls.com is the easiest way. We're on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, the League of Excellent Extraordinary Negroes. Every Monday, we are now currently reviewing The Expanse and WandaVision.
Super fun show. I love it.
So cool. Tell us what is the League like? What was the point of the League? Is that basically having everybody at your table having a conversation about Game of Thrones?
Yes.
Okay, good.
And actually, I will put that one on Mick, because Mick, when Lovecraft Country came out, he said, Jade, we need to be talking about this. And I was like, okay.
That happening.
And that league will show you that community isn't just about agreeing all the time.
We have writers, we have actors, we have directors, we have board game creators, we have computer analysts and programmers and artists and curators and teachers and EDs and me.
Yay! I love it.
That's awesome. So definitely worth the watching for the entertainment value.
Yes.
Learning more about the shows that you might be interested in having a chat. When we
and next week,
person having a chat.
Yes, and next week we're going to have Joyce Dykema. She is a birth doula, so this is going to be an interesting one. Not the most adjacent industry, but I'm really interested to hear what she has to say.
Because she went from one career to another. So that's what we're talking about: is when you're transitioning careers, how do you leverage what's outside of your comfort area, or what your comfort area is, into a new experience or a new business.
Absolutely, and excel in your field, because she is amazing. So excited to see her. So
thank you so much for hanging out with us. This awesome session was sponsored this week by XYZ Game Labs. So once you're done here, head over to their website, see all the cool things they're doing.
And you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Pinterest, and links are all in the description box below.
Enjoy your Friday. Be good to each other. And remember, next week, you're invited.